we could see more of this in terms of the imagery of the tree of life. And I think a very solid biblical theological case can be made by studying the tree of life in Genesis and in Revelation to see that this is nothing less than the glorified resurrection life that, that Christ has now and he bestows upon his people. That is the exact type of life that was offered to Adam, but not in terms of redemption and salvation, because he was offered to him through obedience, and he didn't need to be saved. He didn't need to be redeemed.
And that's exactly what it means, what covenant of works is meant to subserve. In other words, to serve the purpose of advancing Adam and Eve from a state of probation to a state of confirmed righteousness. In other words, unlosable.
Yeah.
The very same righteousness that we have in Christ and will ultimately have in its fullest form in the new heavens and the new earth is what Adam was promised prior to the fall. And that's, you see, and that makes the fall that much more serious and that much more sorrowful.
I know.
Because it's not merely a giving up of what they already possessed, but it's a forfeiting of what they were promised upon obedience.
Right. He was created very good. Genesis 1:31. Right. There wasn't anything wrong with him. There was no concupiscence. There was no drift away from God and towards self. But he was not perfect, and I mean that in the eschatological sense. I'm not using that.
Consummate.
I'm not using that ethically. Right. And he was not consummated. He was not best. He was still subject to death. He was subject to losing his original righteousness, knowledge, and holiness. And he would have received this consummate eschatological life described in 1 Corinthians 15 if he would have properly achieved or satisfied the stipulations of perfect and perpetual or personal obedience. And if he would have entered into that life, then that would have been that.